Okay, now we are talking about the second ceremony, which was the most difficult, terrorizing, scariest, frightening experience I've ever had in my life. And when I say those adjectives, I am not kidding. This was the most frightening experience of my life. So after fasting on the second day, we went to the Maloka and we did a little bit of meditation. We also did some rapé, which is a powder that you inhale in your nose. And what it does, it kind of shuts down all the chatter that you have in your brain, and it clears, yeah, it really does clear your brain out. So we did that. It was rather painful, but it stopped the chatter that I had and the anxiety that I had in my head. So after this, we took a little bit of a bigger cup than we had done the first ceremony of the vine, the ayahuasca vine. And within 20 minutes, I started feeling like the same thing. I started feeling like I was seeing the shapes and the colors, and the floor was kind of moving. And I started feeling that it was just getting a little bit more out of control this time versus the first night. And I started feeling very, very nauseous. And then it started where I started throwing up, and this went on for a good 15 minutes, and I found myself fighting with the vine. Yeah, it was basically me trapped in the vine of ayahuasca, and I found myself falling head first and being tumbled like in a dryer. And I started getting very, very scared. And I had the urge to go to the bathroom because you should never trust an ayahuasca fart. That's a known fact. So one of the facilitators took me to the bathroom, went to the bathroom, and then I came back to my mat. And then the visions got stronger and stronger, and I felt like I was losing control, and I had so much nausea, and I just thought, if I can just control what's happening, I will be okay. And so I started focusing on being able to control what was happening in my brain. And goodness, for I think about maybe 20 minutes, I thought I was dying, and I could not get out of this ayahuasca. I was being thrown around into this vine like I've never felt this way before. And at one point, again, I started feeling like I had to go back to the bathroom. The facilitator took me to the bathroom, and at this point, I was throwing up. I had diarrhea. I was dying, and I remember having this thought about, oh my gosh, I can't even get out of this second ceremony. There's no way I'm going to do a third ceremony. And I don't know why I was thinking this, because I was still in the second ceremony, and I was really having a bad time. And I remember telling the facilitator that I didn't want to do this anymore. I wanted it to end. I was done. Please just make this go away. And she took me back to my mat. And at this point, the maestro had told me that if I was stuck, that I needed to ask for his help. So I knew I was stuck because I was stuck inside this vine, and I was not coming out. I was being strangled, and I said I needed his help. So he came to me, and he started singing to me, and I just kept saying, help me. I can't I can't get out of this. And I remember him clearly saying, you have to focus, concéntrate, concéntrate, you have to focus. And I saw these little gray little hands that were above me, and I could see some light above me, but I was still falling in the vine. And I heard this voice saying, come, come. And it was a female voice, and it wasn't my voice, and it wasn't a voice that I've ever heard in my entire life, but I heard this voice saying, come, come. And those little gray hands that were above me, and they were waving at me to say, come. And I remember saying, I'm stuck. I can't get up there. I don't know what to do. Help, help, help. And then I heard this voice again, come, come. And I remember thinking, I gotta let go. I have to let go of my control. This is it, I'm trying to control this. I can't control it. And so I said, I'm surrendering. I'm letting go. I'm letting go. I'm ready. I'm ready. And I just almost want to cry thinking about this. So I started feeling like my body was just raising, coming up towards those little gray hands. And I remember feeling so light and just so happy. And suddenly it was like clear that I was no longer in the vine, that I had talked to God. And I know it's crazy because I was brought up Catholic, and and I became an atheist when I was 25, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't like the God that I had believed in, or no, not believed in, but the God that I had been talked about when I was growing up as a Catholic. It was just more of a feeling, and it was more like it was all around me. It was the whole universe. And I knew that I was going to be okay. I don't know why I'm crying. And I knew that I was going to be okay. So suddenly I just felt like that everything was going to be fine. And I wasn't scared anymore because I wasn't dying. Because when I was when I was in the vine and I was throwing up, it was clear that I was throwing up demons. And I was throwing up all the bad stuff that had been collected for years. And man, suddenly I just felt like that was it. I was going to be okay. And suddenly everything became clear. I woke up, and I remember just thinking, what the fuck just happened? What happened? Like, I can't even comprehend what happened. So that was the second night, and we stayed in the room, and I felt God, or I felt something that was in the maloca. And I was going to be fine, and I could go on forever, so I'm not going to go on forever. So I just felt amazing. I felt like everything that was bad, everything bad that I had done was out of my system, and it was out of my brain. And I just knew that I had to go through this to be cleaned. And I just laid there, and it was just the most bizarre experience, because one minute I was in the vine dying, and the next minute I was actually in the process of coming back to life, being clean. So now I'm going to take a little break and dry my eyes, and then I'm going to talk about the third ceremony, which was absolutely amazing.